Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Secondhand Smoke. So before we get started, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe button, and leave a comment at the end. I'm going to jump right into it today. I'm sure that everyone has heard that there was cocaine found in the White House today, or not today, but yesterday. So let's see what Inside Edition has to say about that.
While President Biden and his family were celebrating July 4th on the Truman balcony, behind the scenes, the Secret Service was investigating the shocking discovery of cocaine just steps from the Oval Office.
How this got into the White House and who brought it in, all of those questions still lingering.
Here's what we know. The cocaine was found in a small dime-sized bag during a routine sweep in a cubby used by White House staff and guests to store cell phones.
There's a small wall of little cubbies where guests are told to leave their cell phones before entering the West Wing for tours. That's because photos are not allowed inside the West Wing.
A field test by the D.C. Fire Department confirmed it was cocaine.
We have a yellow bar stating cocaine.
The search for the culprit was the main focus of today's White House press briefing.
The president thinks it's very important to get to the bottom of this. That's why Secret Service, which is under their purview, is looking into this.
Washington Post White House correspondent Tyler Pager, who broke the story, says it may have been a guest of a White House staffer.
If you are a White House employee, you can sign up to give guests guided tours of the West Wing. And the place where this was found is the entry point for those tours. So some in the White House believed the cocaine is potentially associated with a tour that was ongoing on Sunday.
Conservative media is pointing the finger at the president's troubled son, Hunter.
This was all unfolding in between visits from the president's son, Hunter, a recovering drug addict.
Hunter was not at the White House when the cocaine was discovered on Sunday. He was at Camp David with the rest of the Bidens.
Okay, so they just said Hunter was not at the White House on Sunday when the cocaine was discovered. But if you go back to the beginning of the video, they say something
While
else.
President Biden and his family were celebrating July 4th on the Truman balcony, behind the scenes, the Secret Service was investigating the shocking
Oh, they were investigating. So, I don't know. That just seemed a little bit fishy that they said that it was discovered on Sunday, but on Tuesday they were investigating it. I guess this is a 2-day long investigation. I don't know. I'm going to help them out a little bit. So I just want everyone to take a look at Joe Biden's dress, everyone, what they're wearing and where they're standing and everything. And then we're going to jump over to Twitter. And then Hunter's looking a little hot there. A little sweaty, a little nervous. I was gonna go to. I'll turn them. Because I Got High by Afro Man is the music. I don't have the rights to that, so I'm not gonna let it play. But my man just looks a little hot, a little hot and bothered while he's on that White House balcony. Yeah, I don't know. Just a conspiracy, but he does look a little fishy out there. Now,
crack cocaine.
So this is Joe Biden speaking in 1994 about how he feels about drugs, right before he signed before or after, I don't know, but him and Bill Clinton and a bunch of other Democrats signed this thing that was called the 1994 crime bill. So I'm going to play what he has to say first, and then I'm going to tell you how this crime bill plays out. Let's see here. Oh, and by the way, on the opposite side of the screen of Joe Biden talking about crack cocaine and how he feels about it, you got Hunter Biden using crack cocaine. He likes to film himself a lot, so there's a lot of things on the internet, a lot of evidence of Hunter and his love-hate relationship with crack. So
Crack cocaine, no bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand, 1/4 of $1. we passed a law through the leadership of Senator Thurmond and myself and others, a law that says if you're caught with that, you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail. Judge doesn't have a choice. Under our forfeiture statutes, the government can, take everything you own, everything from your car to your house, your bank account, not merely what they confiscate in terms of the dollars from the transaction that you just got caught engaging in. They can take everything. I don't care why they become a sociopath.
So that part, that I can understand it. I don't condone it. I can understand it, but that part really fucks me up that they could take everything. So if you serving, crack, or maybe, whatever. Yeah, if you just serving crack, they could not only take your work, your drugs, and your money, but they could take your car, they could take your house, they could take your TVs, your sneakers. Like, that's fucking wild. They could strip you down to nothing, according to this man, our current president.
We have an obligation to cordon them off from the rest of society. They are in jail, away from my mother, your husband, our families. So I don't want to ask, what made...
Meanwhile, you got his son on the opposite side of the screen, shaking repeatedly, ass naked, on what appears to be a hotel floor.
...them do this. They must be taken off the street.
All right. So he wants crack dealers and crack users off the streets. He just said if you're caught with something as small as a quarter, you're in jail for 5 years.
Crack cocaine.
No probation. No nothing. Oh, look at this one here.
I just laid out the bag. It's 2.06.
2.07.
2.07, you stupid bitch.
2.0.
You said 2.06. It's 2.07.
It's
2.07. Without the bag.
So how long is
2.0.
Yeah, this idiot just records every fucking thing that he does. I don't know what his deal is with that, but yeah. So yeah, it's a classical story of rules for thee, but not me. I want your family members and your troubled youth to be snatched away from you and thrown in prison. But my son, I get to keep him right by me, right in my Oval Office, where he can look sketchy and hot as hell. I could see if he wasn't a crackhead, then you'd just be like, Rob, he's just clearly hot. He's sweating. But he's a crackhead. So when the man looks like he's on crack or coke, because they said it was coke, it's not that far-fetched to believe that. But let's just see how this crime bill affected, black folks, people of color, etc. So, let's see here. All right, authorized the death penalty for 60 new federal offenses. Let's see. The Crime Bill's Federal Death Penalty Act permitted the use of the death penalty for 60 new federal offenses, including certain drug offenses not related to homicide. So you ain't even have to kill nobody and you could get sentenced to death. You could just sell some dope that didn't even kill nobody. He said not even related to homicide. In the years following the bill's passage, 74% of defendants with the death penalty recommendations from federal prosecutors were people of color. So Notably, 44% were black and 21% were Hispanic. So, number one affected 74% of 74% of defendants with death penalty recommendations were black folks. Imposed mandatory life sentences for individuals with 3 or more felony convictions. So this one is clear. I don't even gotta tell you too much about that. This is fucked up because selling pot is a felony. So if you sold pot 3 times and got caught 3 times, you could be sitting in life in prison for selling pot or mushrooms. Something as harmless as that. You know, like this is crazy. You know, levied harsh new penalties for justice-involved youth. So let's see here. As a result, today, 2/3 of Americans who were sentenced to life in prison as juveniles are black. Juveniles of color also constitute the majority of cases that are transferred to adult criminal court, regardless of the offense category. The crime bill also expanded the school to prison pipeline and increased racial disparities in youth justice involvement by creating draconian penalties for so-called super predators. Oh, we're super predators. Low-income children of color, especially black children who are convicted of multiple crimes. So just pretty much give up on the kids that, you know, are committing crimes. Look, I don't want kids messing up my neighborhoods either. But you can't just send these kids to life in prison. Like, did we try any type of boot camp or any kind of rehabilitation where they, you know, can, like, anything? A motherfucking Big Brother program? Anything? You know, just send these kids to life imprisonment. But when it's his son, let's look at this again.
07.
But when it's his son, it doesn't matter. But when it's these people, in the streets, I mean, listen to how serious he was. This man was preaching that shit back then.
No bigger than this quarter that I'm holding in my hand. One that you go to jail for 5 years. You get no probation. You get nothing other than 5 years in jail.
Nothing other than 5 years. Okay. Well, I want to see it for your boy right here. Did he go to jail for 5 years? Look, oh, here's another one. Yeah, did he go to jail for 5 years? Like, get out of here, bro. So when these people, and then Inside Edition said conservative media is blaming it on Hunter. I think anybody with a fucking open eye would blame it on Hunter. You know, watch him in the back there, with the little flick of the nose. Where's he at? Yeah, get that nose booger. That candy sugar nose booger. Or I'm saying it wrong. You could tell I don't use the shit, but yeah, I just think it's wild that would even be considered or not be considered as, you know, he would be the first person I would be looking at. And I just want you to keep in mind, Jill's dress is the same there. This is all the same stuff. They could have used this footage on Inside Edition. I don't know why it's only on Twitter. They could have used that for that. You know? But, yeah, Hunter gets to do all the crack he wants and live freely. And if you got a family member that does crack and you love them, they get to go to prison. 5 years. So, rules for thee, but not for me. Yeah, you got a family member that smoke weed or get caught. Hell, if I stand outside of my house and smoke a fucking blunt right now, I'd fucking get arrested. And this motherfucker can do all the goddamn crack cocaine he wants to. Crack motherfucking cocaine. He's in love with the cocoa. I can't even smoke a little fucking flower. Like, that's a problem. That's a problem. I need to know who's at the bottom. I need to know whose cocaine that was at the White House. The American people need to know, and I want them held accountable just like everyone else is held accountable. If you're not going to hold people accountable for the crimes, then we might as well get rid of them. You might as well legalize drugs if you're not going to fucking hold people accountable. So either legalize the drugs or throw him in jail. Like, seriously, like, and I'm not calling for all legalization of all drugs, but this is just upside down. This is bullshit. So I need to know whose cocaine that was at the White House, and if it belongs to Hunter Biden, I want him held accountable. Thank you. I hope everyone enjoyed and have a good rest of your day. Bye.